Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Daily Newcastle podcast, and it is Tactics Tuesday once again. And yes, I'm back on it. Yes, I'm Michael Grahamslaw, I'm your host for this episode, and I am joined by quite possibly England's happiest NFL fans right now. Firstly, we've got Wembley-bound Kev and Esther. How's it going, Kev?
Yes, tell me, mommy, and the Eagles won. What a fantastic... I tell you what, me being mega positive recently is paying off. However, Michael hasn't done himself justice fair with his introduction. It is the king of Tactics Tuesday, by the way, Michael Grahamslaw. Let's get that right. Nobody does Tactics Tuesday as good as Michael.
The rest of us can't do it.
Thank you.
Pretty much. Michael's the only one good enough to do Tactics Tuesday.
And that's why I've put myself down as not able to do it for the next 6 weeks. I kid. But what you may have also noticed that I'm also joined by Nicola, Pringle-Adams. How's it going, Nick?
I'm good, thank you. I am very tired tonight, whatever time it is. But we're good.
Something happened last night.
Well, yeah, Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Nah, no one cares about that. We're not going to talk about that. What we are going to talk about is Newcastle and 5 at the back, which was much more entertaining than the halftime show last night for 100%. Bloody Kendrick Lamar. But I've got you both to here today, and that's not the only topic I've got that's piqued my interest. And does anyone else care about them? Well, we'll probably find out. The first of which, obviously, 5 at the back. We played it in the 2-0 victory against Arsenal last week. Great performance. Great game. We've already covered it, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. However, what we did see was Botman, Shaw and Byrne all working brilliantly together. We looked very strong, and it was arguably one of our best performances of the season. So, ahead of playing a team that we typically don't do very well against, we put in great performances but don't get great results, Manchester City. If Botman, Byrne and Fabian Shaw are all readily available, could we see Newcastle United go 5 at the back once again? What do you think, Nick?
I don't know if you will go 5 at the back again. I don't know. It was a very, very good tactic for the Arsenal game, and it obviously caught the Arsenal team by surprise because he absolutely folded like a deck chair. It was very cleverly put together, and obviously it was phenomenal. But I don't think we'll struggle against Man City to the point where we need to put 5 at the back. I really don't.
Statement.
Big statement. I really don't.
Starting off hot. Yeah. I like to say it.
Honestly, I think, obviously in Manchester City, yes, okay, they've got great players, world-class players, and they're a great team in any other season. But this season, they've been very, I don't know, just very hot and cold, not getting the results that you'd expect them to get. And yeah, I don't think we'll struggle. I don't think he will put 5 out the back. And obviously, Botman did come off with a slight knee issue, didn't he? The other day. So, I mean, it's not serious. It's been said it's not serious. But I think he might just stick with the 4. Could be wrong.
What about you, Kev? Is 5 at the back something you maybe see a bit more in the foreseeable future against what I would regard as tough opposition? Nick maybe doesn't. I still fear Erling Haaland.
Yeah, I still fear them, but I'm just saying I just don't think we'll struggle as what people expect. I'm going to stop talking. Just get me off the pod.
I think it is an unbelievable tactic. I think it depends on 2 things. Obviously, I'm not going to go into the fitness of a centre half because you said if they were all fit, what would happen? But by the way, Kraft came in, didn't he?
That's part 2 of my question. Thanks.
Yep. Sorry, I'll take the original question. Sorry, mate. I tried not to jump in. I mean, I've done it anyway.
Live.
It's live. Anyway, I think if them 3 centre halves are fit, I'm not sure. It was such a versatile tactic. At times it was 4-3-3 with Byrne going to left back, Trippier right back with Lewis Hall in a central midfield position. So it was 4-3-3 at times. It was also 3-4-3 where you had Murphy and Gordon in the normal roles with Trippier as right midfield, Hall as left midfield, and then the 3 at the back. And it was, of course, 5-4-1 at times when we're defending. So it's such a versatile formation. I feel like we definitely will see it again. Against City, maybe not. And the reason I think not against City is because City are like a wounded animal at the minute, and you can attack them, you can get at them. Now, wounded animals sometimes come back with a big response, but I think Eddie will sense blood, and I think if we can go the 4-3-3 high press, hit them early and attack them, then I think Eddie's going to take that opportunity to do that. The good news is, either way, whether he goes 4-3-3 like I think he will, or 5 at the back, which is incredibly versatile. Either way, we could beat them with 5 of them formations. I can't remember the last time we've went to Man City with a chance. I'm not saying we're going to win. I'm not just gonna write Man City off. They are still an incredibly talented team, and we had a bit of a blip at Leyton Orient and Gonzalez get injured and all that stuff. But they are there to be attacked this time, and I know Eddie loves to attack, so we'll see. I hope 4-3-3.
So there we've had it. We've got 2 people saying that we, have a good chance of beating Manchester City. There's so much arrogance on display. I thought I was on the Daily Arsenal podcast for a moment. That's not a gym of them, just the Arsenal fans. The guys on the pod are actually sound, but as a fan base as a whole, terrible.
Unbearable.
Exactly. And I will say, just as a result of the Birmingham game, obviously, Nick, you mentioned Botman, a little bit of an injury. Dan Byrne also went off with a bit of an injury. And we've touched on Emil Kraft, but also I wanted to sort of mention Matt Targett. Do you think Kraft and Targett would both be, or one or the other, be capable of filling in, even if it's temporarily, in that left centre-back role, or right centre-back in Kraft's scenario, if Byrne and or Botman aren't fit against Manchester City? What do we think, Kev?
I'm a bit more reluctant to let Targett into that position, mainly because we haven't seen him yet. But I also would have been that reluctant when we first mentioned Kraft playing centre-half, but it's because he's earned, obviously, our trust now. So, look, Targett, he's had a weird career at Newcastle. That spell on loan, he was fantastic. And then it's just kind of been, well, I've got a contract now, why do I care? So, I'm not saying that is the case, but that's sometimes how it comes across. But anyway...
100 grand a week, and he's just like, I'm going to put my legs up.
I'm on 100 grand a week, and I'm Matt Targett. I shouldn't be anywhere near 100 grand a week.
True.
But I think it also comes down. I think Eddie said today that Gordon has a bit of a problem / issue. That's a little bit worrying for me. That means Willak then has to go as a winger because Barnes also isn't fit. If Willak has to go as a winger, that means Longstaff probably plays, or you don't play Longstaff and you put 5 at the back. Because he didn't.
We're ruining the next part of the podcast.
Sorry.
She knows.
Talking.
I will shut up. Over to Nick.
But yeah, what do you think, Nick? Do Kraft or Matty Targett potentially come in at any point?
Sorry, Kev, I didn't mean to be so aggressive.
Used to getting bullied. It's okay.
Yeah, Matt Targett for me just isn't. I feel really bad saying this because I feel like when he first came to Newcastle, he'd done the job that we expected him to do and obviously got himself into sort of first team football. But for me right now, I don't know if it's because we haven't seen enough of him recently. He just hasn't got the quality that we obviously see every other weekend. So I would be more comfortable seeing Kraft on the pitch than I would Matt Targett. I feel like he can just do a 100%. Job and he performs well and has proved himself time and time again when he's need to. So yeah, that I'm in agreement with Kev there. I wouldn't think Targett would struggle, but I just feel like he's not got the quality of the rest.
No, I completely agree. And the reason I mentioned Targett is because of that similarity with Emil Kraft. Neither of them are particularly pacey, neither of them are particularly physical. But when Emil Kraft's coming at centre back, he hasn't looked out of place at all. So it's one of those where Targett hasn't really got the ability to get up and down the flanks like Lewis Hall does, for example. So maybe there's a place for him slipping in that more defensive centre-back sort of role. But it seems unlikely. But I wouldn't mind seeing it against a Birmingham or something like that.
Does anyone know when Lascelles is back?
Never. He's going to be injured till the end of his life. No, on a genuine note, I think it is March. I think
ex-captain.
I love him. I think he's fantastic.
Right, okay.
But what I'll say is he's like Callum Wilson. He's injured all the time.
Did he get injured around the same time as Botman, or was it a bit afterwards? I can't remember.
Similar, very similar.
Yeah, so I wonder what's taking him so long then. I mean, I know
the
injuries are different.
bodies respond differently to different surgeries, don't they? So
Yeah.
I know that, but you just like, look at Botman's return.
yeah, but he's a human. It's different.
I know, but still.
Well, on that awkward note, we're going to move to an advert. And this first one is going to be given to us by Nicola.
I've lost it.
Oh, great.
Found it. Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. Zencastr came out the clear winner. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs, it is super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description to learn more about Zencastr.
Cracking stuff. Thank you very much. And it made up for losing it at the start. Fantastic. It's perfectly fine. We've all done it.
My fault.
Yeah, it's all Kev's fault. We blame Kev for everything.
There you go.
Well, we talked about the potential of playing 5 at the back in the first part, and I want to talk about a position that actually maybe forced our hand a little bit to make us go a little bit more defensive against Arsenal. Central midfield. If we play our traditional 4-3-3, like we said in the first part, that we think we will, Sandro Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes couldn't be removed from the team sheet if you tried. So the question remains of who would support those two in a 4-3-3. Now, we've mentioned that Willak might be forced to play a left wing again, so that would potentially leave Miley and Longstaff. But for now, let's say Gordon's fit. We've got Willak, Miley, or Longstaff. Who joins Bruno and Tenali in that midfield 3? What do you think, Kev?
I think it's got to be Willak, just because of how well he did in the cup. Finally got a bit of confidence back. And let's face it, the season we finished 4th, and then kind of even last season when he was fit, I know Longstaff's fit a lot more, but Willak's been Howe's kind of go-to when they've both been fit. He's normally preferred Willak, and that'll surprise some people because they're like, oh, he was stubborn about Longstaff for a long time, but Longstaff was playing all the time last season in a season where we were just absolutely just smashed by injuries. I remember season before that, he did anything he could to get Willak in the team. He was even playing left wing at times when Maxi was kind of on the way out and Joelinton and him were linking up really well. So I think he trusts Willak more. I think Willak's the right decision. And I think now is a great time to put him in after that Birmingham City performance. However, Longstaff did play at home against Arsenal this season when we won 1-0. He had a great game, just breaking everything up and letting the others do stuff. So again, I always like to come to Longstaff's defence. Just I don't know what it is about him which makes me defend him. There's just something. So yeah, to be honest, after the Arsenal game, whatever decision Eddie Howe makes, I fully support, because how can we doubt this man at this moment in time? At any time, actually, for any fans who did doubt him, please comment and apologise and say you'll never do it again. But
I'll happily say I was a doubter. We were losing.
No.
Yes, we were drawing 0-0 with Everton. I said before the Arsenal. Yeah, I said before the Arsenal game, if we lose against Arsenal and Nottingham Forest, he could potentially be in trouble.
Yeah, but
I didn't
that's not doubting him. That's not doubting him.
I'm doubting him because I'm saying I think we could have lost them quite easily. We ended up winning both and looking incredible. But
never doubted Eddie Howe. I'm shocked at that, Michael.
Howe makes mistakes, as does every single person in life. If you think that you don't make mistakes, you're wrong. Just like Eddie Howe.
I do.
He makes mistakes.
No,
exactly.
What?
I was talking to the listener, by the way, not you.
Eddie Howe.
That's why I pointed. For our Spotify listeners who can see me point. Mistake.
I thought when you said about potentially like losing his job, I thought it was like I don't want it to happen, but I can see it happening. I didn't actually realise you were doubting him.
I didn't want it to happen, but I could understand why it would.
Yeah.
And for that reason, I'm going to move on to the next topic, because I saw Nicola's face when you said Longstaff and you were trying to defend him. And I just want to get Nicola's opinion on whether or not Longstaff should potentially feature in the big game against Man City.
Guys, I don't want to see Longstaff in a starting lineup sheet for a long time.
Oh,
and why is that? 8
goals last season.
Right, Kev, I love you dearly, mate, right? But how we can... This is not a therapy session. Did you watch the game on Saturday?
Yeah, he's not
Sunday
in good
whenever it was.
form. He's
No,
not
right.
playing regularly.
So
Look,
you've just sat there. No. You've just sat there and said, "Oh, but he was cracking against Arsenal over our 1-0 win this season." We're going to just take Bromley and Birmingham
he
into
was.
account. He was awful,
He
absolutely
wasn't good,
awful.
but I still don't think if you put him in, he would just let you down. He would give everything. And look, he's not a good player. He has technical limitations. He does have limitations to his game. But why would we not back him? Why would we not get behind him? Why do we want to see our own fail all the time? Why do we want to jump on the back? Happened with Shaw. Happened with loads of Newcastle United players who come through the academy. We're desperate to see them fail. That's what it comes across like.
Don't put words into my mouth. Don't put words into my mouth. That's not what I said. I didn't say I'm looking to see Longstaff fail, or I want to see him fail.
You don't want him near the team sheet.
No, I don't want him near the team sheet because I want to win games. I want to win games. So sorry,
and we
but
do with Longstaff. If you look at Longstaff's record of when we've won, again, I'm not even a massive Longstaff fan, but I'll defend him. I don't know why I get this passionate about him. I don't really particularly rate him, but I don't.
Great.
The record with him in the team, is very, very good, and I'm not going to dig it out or whatever. Michael might know it already, but it's just a case of if he plays, I want him to play well. And if he doesn't play well,
but he doesn't.
If he doesn't play well, I'm not going to slate him. I'm not going to get on his back. We need to support him. I would personally play Willak, but I don't like it when Longstaff just gets hate for the sake of being a Geordie boy. I hate it.
Right, no, I'm not giving him hate because he's a Geordie boy. I love him because he's a Geordie, and I love the fact that he's still at Newcastle. I'm not even giving him hate. I'm just saying his performances of late have been abysmal. That's what I'm going to say.
True, but so were Willak's.
I'm not looking for the poor kid to be, dropped from Newcastle forever and, sent somewhere else. So I still support him and I defend him. But you cannot defend them performances, particularly against people like Bromley.
But we also
Birmingham.
before Birmingham couldn't have defended Willak's performance. But I know Willak got racial abuse, but let's be honest, that's well.
And I came on here and I said
normal.
That. Yes.
However, Willak was getting. He was awful in terms of performances, and everyone was like, he just needs to get his confidence. He just needs a game to get his confidence. Longstaff's playing awful, and it's like, I don't want him anywhere near the team sheet. I don't get why them two get treated differently. I don't understand why.
Well, I actually did say a couple of pods ago that Willak, before obviously all this came out, that he shouldn't be starting. So we'll just go back a few. Okay.
So we heard it here first. The Daily Newcastle podcast hate Geordies. Apparently, according to Kev.
I don't. I defend.
Please, you have more of a good our fan base than any other person I know on this planet.
You can't stand. I knew you couldn't stand me, and you can't even stand me. You can't even look at me.
I like Nicola, and I like Michael, and I like Joe, and I like Ian, but I hate our fan base.
Hear that? He hates you and you and you and you.
There's about 6, maybe 7 Newcastle fans I like. And 4 of them are on this pod. 4 on this pod.
So, before we go massively off and I end up having to cut out half the podcast because we've alienated all of our listeners.
This is the one that gets cancelled.
The last player I wanted to talk about it's funny that we're talking about poor performances because I mentioned last night one player that I thought was particularly bad who could also fit in that central midfield equation was Lewis Miley. Miley in glimpses this season has shown that he's quite good. He's played well, but against Birmingham, it looked like he was a bit out of his depth, and I don't know if that was just the power and the passion behind Birmingham. You were getting one touch and someone was sliding into the back of you. Maybe that's just not his speed, and it's not a game for him. But what do you think about upcoming games in the Premier League? I'm not going to say start them because we've already mentioned Willak's number 1. But would you potentially look to give Lewis Miley any minutes in big games like against Manchester City? We'll start with you, Nicola.
I didn't say anything about any of our players because I feel like Kev's going to come at me through the
camera.
Well, you hate Geordie, so I thought
no. Would I give Miley minutes? Yeah, I actually would. I would give him minutes. I wouldn't necessarily start him, as you've said, because I do think Willak beats him from a quality perspective. However, I think look, Miley had a bit of a long-lasting injury last season. Was it his back or something? And maybe we don't know what goes through these players' heads. Also, he's very young still, so he's still getting up to speed with the way the game changes and Eddie Howe's style of play is completely changed. Game on game. So he's had a bit of time away. So he's probably still trying to get his confidence back. He's had lack of game time, being brought in, for one game and then has had like 6 games off sort of thing. So I would give him game time, but I wouldn't necessarily start him. I think that's a player that sort of needs his confidence brought back a little bit, a bit like the Willak scenario, to be fair.
What about you, Kev? Can you end this part of the episode agreeing with Nicola, or are we going to have another head-to-head?
Absolute rubbish. Watch it. No, I'm only joking. I do completely agree with Nicola, if I'm honest. I think Miley, he's got all the potential in the world. And when he started, when he was kind of forced into the deep end last season, he did look really, really good. And I don't know what it is. Is it just, Nicola might be bang on, to be fair, that a game time, not as many minutes. Obviously, he's got competition now, so he has to impress in training. And then when he does get these cameos, he has to really look good to try and get into the team. And I wasn't necessarily disagreeing for the sake of disagreeing with Longstaff. And I actually agree with Nicola on Longstaff. I would start Willak. And actually, I don't think Longstaff's particularly good, but I've said it on this podcast before. I don't know why. I just get something inside that I need to defend Longstaff. I don't even know why, because my dad isn't like, Kev, you're the biggest hypocrite going. You would never start Longstaff. And it's not that I would never start him. I don't know why I defend him. I have no idea why I defend him, because he's not particularly fantastic. But I just don't like all the grief he gets. I think it's similar. Remember when Shoutout used to play? And Shoutout got loads of grief. Yeah. He wasn't good, I agree. But I used to defend him all the time as well, because I just felt bad. I don't know what it is. I really don't.
You're just kind, whereas I'm just a bit cold-hearted, and that's fine.
Maybe. Just to not be anywhere near the start 11's a bit. I had to defend him.
Right, well, everything's getting a bit too friendly neighbourhood podcast now, so we're going to move on to
next. I'll be saying I like Newcastle fans.
Let's not push the boat out there. We know that's not happening.
I like the sensible ones, is how I should phrase that. I like the sensible ones.
And we will go on to something that you like with our second advert.
Nice.
Oh, never mind. Nicola's going to jump in first. What are you thinking?
I was saying to him, I'm the sensible one, but yeah. Anyway,
there is a lot of sensible Newcastle fans.
Cut that out.
Just I don't see them very often. I only see.
And on that note, we go to our second sponsor of the evening, to be read out by you, Kev.
Absolutely. The Global Sports Podcast Network is changing the face of football podcasting with dedicated daily content for every Premier League team. It has women's football, and it even has a dedicated Premier League wrap-up. It also comes in 5 different languages, so this is truly your one-stop shop for your daily football fix. Find the Global Sports Podcast Network wherever you find your usual podcasts.
Thank you very much. Now, well, obviously we're back. But what I wanted to talk about was... I always say it in my back, so I thought I'd just make a little joke. But we're in the last 16 of the FA Cup, and everything is pretty rosy on Tyneside at the moment. The draw is tonight, so if you're listening to this, you'll already know who we've got in the next round, should I say. But these are the names we could potentially face. Manchester United, Millwall, Brighton and Hove Albion, Preston North End, Exeter City or Nottingham Forest, Ipswich Town, Wolves, Fulham, Plymouth Argyle, AFC Bournemouth, Aston Villa, Burnley, Manchester City, Doncaster Rovers or Crystal Palace, or Cardiff City. It's a longer list than I remember. But who would you like to face, if anyone, out of those teams? I will start with you, Kev.
Well, Preston, Plymouth, they would be nice.
Tell me why.
Plymouth knocked out Liverpool, though, mate. So
yeah, we'll be okay. I think. I don't think we'll do that too many more times.
No.
Anyone can beat Liverpool. It's fine.
Yeah, we'll beat them in the final. You'll see. However, to win it, I feel like we need to make a statement. So if it's at home, I want Man City or Man United.
Oh my God!
Get rid of them. I'd rather play them at home. Than play them at Wembley. So can we knock out the team can we knock out the teams who we know we can beat at home? All right. And then play the teams who we've got more of a chance against at Wembley where we don't have a home advantage. So you know what? Bring them on. Bring on the big guns. Bring on Man United. Bring on City. But give us a home tie. A home tie. Get them out. Get us to Wembley. And then in Wembley, we'll play Ipswich or we'll play whoever else at Wembley. We'll do that. Get rid
Exeter City.
of Man U and Man City. Yeah, play Exeter City or Nottingham Forest at Wembley.
Nottingham Forest. Yeah, Forest.
We have a chance at Wembley.
It's very interesting that you say that, because going into the League Cup, obviously, we're second favourites. You know, we're the outsiders on this one. But we're actually in exactly the same position, second in the betting, to win the FA Cup. So what I wanted to say on that point, and you've already stole my thunder here, but I'll ask Nick, do you think it would be better to play Manchester City in the 5th round, home or away? It could be away as well. Or round of 16, as they call it, not 5th round. Or play them in the final?
Oh, it's a great question.
Yeah.
And you set me up beautifully.
Yeah, I don't think I would like to face Manchester City in a final.
No.
At all, actually. No. I would rather have them in the next round of the FA Cup at home.
No, it could be away.
It could be away, but I'd rather have them at home.
That's the issue. If it's away, it becomes a lot. You'd rather play them at Wembley than away, but obviously you can't pick. So.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't want them in the final, because knowing our luck, that's when they'll turn back into prime Manchester City and beat us 7-0. So yeah, no, I'll take them for the next round, please.
I think in this stage of the competition as well, they are going to rest players. You're probably not going to see Haaland play, for example. While in the final, let's be honest, Haaland's scoring and he's in the mood. Starting, I should have said, and he's in the mood to score. But on that note, we've answered that question. I'm going to move to back to the original one. Nick, who would you like to face out of the teams I mentioned earlier?
I would like to actually face a United, as in Man United, obviously. And I'd probably get a little bit of stick for this one, but I wouldn't mind knocking out Aston Villa as well.
Yes, come on.
I would quite like to knock out them, because again, their fan base is absolutely unbearable.
Shots fired at everyone. I love it.
Shots fired. Yeah, our listeners are going to go down, but it's fine. Yeah, I would quite like to knock out United or, as Kev said, Manchester City. But if not, I would take Villa. I would quite like maybe Villa at home. I know it can be away, but I would like them at home.
Yeah, if it's an away draw, you want the Plymouths and that, don't you? I think. But if it's a home draw, you want the big guns, because we're much more likely to beat them than we are anywhere else.
So, we've said that the 3 teams we potentially want to play are Man United, Manchester City and Aston Villa.
You can tell we're confident at the minute. We are them unbearable Toon fans I talk about, aren't I? We are.
100%.
I've turned into everything I've been having a go at for like 6 months. I've just turned into it in one segment.
Now, with that, we've said who we want to play. I'm going to ask you who you want to avoid. Kev, I started with you last time, so I will go to you, Nicola. Did you say Forest there?
Yeah, I absolutely would not want to face Forest right now.
Ooh.
I just think
the only time we've played them.
You what, sorry?
We beat them in the League Cup.
We beat them both times we played them this season.
Yeah, I know, but I just... I don't know, maybe my opinion's invalid then. I don't think there's anyone that I would really dread to be drawn against out of this list. Sorry, I'm looking at my phone because my list is on my phone.
That's fair. Maybe a Fulham, Bournemouth. Fulham have done the double over us.
Yeah,
Fulham battered us at St.
Fulham have been our bogey team a little bit, haven't they?
Fulham was my answer. Yeah. Fulham and Bournemouth were just horrendous, to be fair. Fulham have...
And our record against Bournemouth
about Fulham. And also, I don't know why this one came to my head, because I still think we'd win anyway, but I'm just thinking of the fans, because obviously I love Newcastle fans so much. Cardiff away would be awful, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Like getting to Cardiff and back would be horrendous. So, yeah, not Cardiff. But performance-wise, Bournemouth are the team to avoid at a minute in the Premier League. Man City showed that. Man City beat them, I think. Or Liverpool beat them, sorry. But it was a very close game. Bournemouth could have easily come away with something. And they battered us. Then Fulham have done a double. So they're starting to turn into a little bit of a bogey team. So I'd like to avoid them too. But anyone else, bring them on.
Yeah. Agreed.
And I'll end just with one. how would you feel about Millwall? An away trip to the Den.
Oh, no.
We saw how much Birmingham got up for it. Imagine that kind of passion compared to a normal game, but at arguably England's roughest stadium. An away trip to Millwall, anyone?
You mean Harchester United? Anybody used to watch Dream Team? No?
No, not me.
Nope, just me. That's where
that's right over my head, mate.
But anyway, no, just because I know I've got a love-hate relationship with Newcastle fans, but
do you?
There's no love for Millwall. There's no love for Millwall. The way they go on, majority of them are thugs, aren't they? So keep them well away from us, please.
Dear me.
Another one.
Another one. Oh, end it there, Michael, before we cancel.
I'm used to upsetting people. It is what it is.
So I will say, if you are a Millwall fan, please do not come anywhere near us.
What the hell are you listening to this for if you're a Millwall fan? Get a life.
Yeah,
get a life. If you're tuning into Daily Newcastle as a Millwall fan, get a life.
Very good point.
I'm getting
an Arsenal fan because you're obsessed with us. Or any of the other teams we've insulted today. We don't mean it. We're lovely people. We just want Newcastle to do well at your expense. And for that, it's time to go. We've been fantastic. You've been fantastic. And listen to the next one tomorrow, because that will also be fantastic.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.